A long time ago, I made a video where I made viewcmd, essentially a very nice way to search for the times that you call the command. Say you search for echo and then you get shown all of your previous echoes. And a viewer of mine left a comment recommending FZF. At that point, I was like, whatever. But I actually tried it out, and so much time has passed that I'm now a woman. Like, damn. But I finally got to it, and I'm gonna show off how I actually use it myself. So, first of all, I will leave a link to the FZF GitHub repository in the description, naturally. Then you can install it, all that simple stuff. But what are the actual remaps that I use? I have made a couple of functions to help me use this. You can see viewcmd here, which I also leave a link to in the description, or rather my video on it, but also this file, entire repo, so on. You know how it goes with YouTubers. Okay, so first of all, I needed a way to get FZF to display a bunch of files somewhere. So FZF by default, let's actually go to, oh, well, goddammit, now I have to spoil how it works. Ignore that, you have not seen it. So FZF by default searches for all the files and then prints it to the standard output. For some reason, it's taking a lot of time, I guess because I have a lot of files, not sure why, but that's how it's supposed to work. It gives you files and you pick a file and then it prints it to the console. However, it will also search for files in the Git directory, in the .vs Code, in the .npm, and so on. So essentially a lot of directories that I do not want to be touching on a regular basis because they take a lot of time to parse through and I don't actually want to. So I made D-list and F-list to list all of the directories for D-list and for F-list all the files in the directories that I specify. To make it clearer what I mean, let's use one of them. So D-list csproj, so that's one of the directories in programming, and then what else? Oh, and then mnt c, sure, maybe, pictures. And now dlist just listed all of the subdirectories of csproj and then all of the subdirectories of pictures. So this is very nice output that I can use for FZF. So we do this and then FZF. Well, we don't have to because I made abstractions for that exact thing. So I can just use, instead of dlist, dpick. And now I can actually pick one of them, say this, and it also prints to the console. So that by itself, well, it's already very useful if you know how to use the command line to your biggest extent, but I obviously also made other things that help me out. And first of all, FZF by default doesn't show up in this small nice window to the bottom. It shows up in a different way. So to get that, we have to go somewhere and do something as usual, right? Yeah, here it is. So you need to run this line once. It doesn't actually have to be in your Z shell RC, but I like to keep my settings permanent in files because if I ever change shells or change computers or reinstall Linux or whatever, now I have to remember all of my stuff, which I don't want to do. So okay, execute this and source these. Not sure why, but it was in the docs of FZF, so I guess you should. And then let's go to my abbreviations. And abbreviations are aliases, but that also expand. I have a video on that as well. So there are a few. First of all, probably my most useful one that I actually wanted to have for a long time. There are generally just a few directories that I jump between. First of all, everything in programming and all the subdirectories of the directories that you currently see. Then mnt, c, blah, autohotkey lib. That's where I keep all of my autohotkey stuff, my autohotkey libraries. Then c, pictures, and audio. So I provide all of those directories to dpick to, first of all, list all of these subdirectories and then pick one of them. And then I change the directory to the directory that I chose. So let's use cf, which I already did sometime previously. I am so sorry. That was not supposed to be there. And now I can pick, say, Levenstein distance. And to go up and down, you don't have to use arrows. You can use Control-N and Control-P, just like in Vim. And boom, I am now there. So by using CF, I get to pick from my most used and my most needed directories and where I want to actually jump. So that's very useful, but I might need to jump somewhere else, or I might want less to choose from as well. So I have these three. You don't really need to have three of them. I just kind of decided to. So the same idea, but you specify the current directory instead. So if we jump to programming, we can use cc, or rather cv, right? No, cc, to pick the directories that are under programming. And say, once again, this. Then you can use cv to pick from the level above, which I'm not going to do because it's gonna parse C and it's just annoying. So now we can use cv, and it's once again under programming, so under the parent directory. So that's how I did it. There's one bug that I'm not sure how to fix. If you try to Control-C out of FZF when you use it like this, then it just jumps you to home. I mean, you could just type dash and go back. It's just kind of annoying. Okay, and then I have the same thing, but for opening files in my editor, which is NeoVim. So if I do VC, it searches for all the files under CSproj. If I do VV, then all the files under programming, VG under C. So let's do VC. I can pick something like this, and it opens it in NeoVim. So very, very useful. And this is precisely what I wanted to do with FZF, and I was very surprised to not see something this obvious in the docs or in the #1 video on YouTube that I searched for. I really often make tutorials on things that I would want to see myself. Like, you decide to figure out how to use FZF, and you're obviously like, okay, I want to have a way to easily jump to directories. And you expect that that kind of video already exists, but it doesn't really, or at least it's not as visible as I would imagine it to be. So now I hope it will be, because that was useful for me, and I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one. So if you enjoyed this video, press a like, type some comment, maybe have a question or a suggestion. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss my content, but most importantly, stay fresh, cheese bags, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!